The bus driver. On a sunny Monday morning, a bus driver, small in stature and soft in demeanor, began his usual route through the city. Everything seemed routine at first. Passengers boarded at stops. Some got off, and the day rolled on smoothly. But then came a moment that would shake up the driver's otherwise quiet life. At one particular stop, a towering figure stepped onto the bus. He was massive, 6'8", with broad shoulders and arms that seemed to reach the floor. His presence alone made the bus feel smaller. The man, who introduced himself as Big Jake, gave the driver a piercing glare and announced in a booming voice, "Big Jake doesn't pay." Without waiting for a response, he marched to the back of the bus and plopped into a seat, leaving the driver frozen in his place. Now, the driver wasn't exactly the confrontational type. He stood only 5'3", thin as a reed, and generally avoided trouble at all costs. He figured it was best to let the matter slide, but deep down it bothered him. It wasn't just about the fare. It was the principle of the thing. He couldn't shake the feeling that he was being disrespected, and each time Big Jake boarded the bus and repeated his catchphrase, the frustration grew. Day after day, week after week, the same scene played out. Big Jake would step on, declare he wouldn't pay, and settle into his usual seat while the driver sat silently at the wheel, fuming. As the weeks wore on, the driver found himself losing sleep over it. He couldn't stop replaying the encounters in his mind, wishing he had the courage to stand up to the hulking passenger. Finally, he decided he'd had enough. If he was ever going to confront Big Jake, he needed to change. Determined, the driver signed up for a series of self-improvement courses. He took bodybuilding lessons to bulk up, karate classes to learn how to defend himself, and even judo to develop some finesse in his moves. Every evening, he trained relentlessly. His once slender frame grew stronger, his punches sharper, and his confidence soared. By the end of the summer, the once meek driver was transformed into a lean, mean, fighting machine. One morning, the bus driver felt a surge of excitement as he began his route. At the regular stop, there he was. The same towering figure, the same booming voice. Big Jake doesn't pay. But this time, instead of sitting silently, the driver stood up from his seat. Muscles flexed, eyes narrowed. He glared right back at Big Jake and shouted, "And why not?" For a moment, Big Jake looked genuinely surprised. He blinked and replied, in a calm and somewhat puzzled tone, "Big Jake has a bus pass." The driver was stunned. All that effort, all those sleepless nights, all that training, and it turned out there wasn't a problem in the first place. He had spent months preparing for a battle that didn't even exist. The lesson was clear. Before dedicating time, energy, and effort to solving a problem, make sure the problem is real. Often the issues we stress over are far smaller or even non-existent once we take the time to understand them. So, before you jump to solutions, pause and ask yourself, is this truly a problem? You might just save yourself a lot of unnecessary effort. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Stop trying to solve problems that don't exist.